Hello, welcome to Catherine's Corner. Today we are celebrating Hanukkah. This is our 6th day and we're going to be making donuts. A lot of things that they do during Hanukkah is make fried foods. They pronounce it sufganiyot. That is the Hebrew word for donut. A lot of you probably don't know that the Jewish people came up with the donut. Isn't that pretty impressive? I think it is. And what funner than to celebrate with something like a donut. So here's a website right here. http://copycat-crispy-cream-original-glazed-donuts/. And just so you can see, this is one of the recipe books my mother gave me. That is how you write sufganiyot. And it's usually jelly-filled donuts. So we might put some jelly-filled donuts, or we might just do glazed. And I want to show you this recipe book that my mother gave me. It's the Essential Jewish Baking Book, Beth A. Lee. Now this is not the recipe we're going to be using today. I decided to try a copycat recipe for Krispy Kreme. I have already printed out everything. These are the ingredients that she has on her website. There you go. And I have also gone to Google because one of the ingredients you need is brown butter. And if you just go to google.com and type in how do you make brown butter, it will tell you step-by-step instructions, which I've already printed up. And there you go. You can always pause this to look at the recipe.
If I may add, Krispy Kreme were founded by Jewish brothers back east. Just like a lot of, Ben and Jerry's, they're both Jewish.
Okay, so the recipe that they provided on the website has 2 versions. We're going to do the second version because it's supposed to be lighter and fluffier, and we want a really nice, light, fluffy donut. So what I did is I printed out the second version, and then I put away the first version. So right now we are on step 4, and we have a picture here.
Ezzy wants to be part of it too.
Activate your yeast and cook your roux. So to begin, by pouring 1/4 cup of warm water into a small bowl containing your yeast and sugar, stir and let it set aside until frothy. Now you can find on your variation 2 recipe, down here it says roux, and it tells you what the ingredients are, and yeast mixture. And right now we're on yeast mixture. It's 1½ teaspoons of fast rising yeast, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1/4 cup of warm water. Alright, so we are using active dry yeast. This is 1 teaspoon. I'm going to just kind of estimate about ½ teaspoon. And then it wants 2 tablespoons, and we're using cane sugar, organic. 1, 2, and then I just ran some warm tap water, 1/4 cup, and then you're just going to stir this together. Scrape the sides off. Make sure you get that yeast back down into the water. Okay. Okay, so usually with yeast I like to leave it in a warm place, so I always leave my light on my stove because it has a little bit of warmth, and I put it on the stove. Some people cover theirs, but I'm not going to cover mine. The instructions didn't ask me to cover it, so. Okay, now we have the yeast sitting aside till foamy. We're going to go ahead and start on the rooks. It is just 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. We have organic all-purpose flour, and 1/2 cup of cold tap water. You will find this under the variation 2 recipe where it says rooks. Also, on the back of step 4, you will find it under cook your rooks. In a small saucepan, pour 1/2 of the flour, all-purpose, and mix it together with your tap water. Mix until it becomes a wet slurry. Transfer to stove top and cook on medium heat, stirring constantly until it forms a gelatinous paste. Set aside. Okay, so we're adding the 1/2 cup of cold water and the 1/4 cup of organic all-purpose flour. Okay, so now we are stirring until it becomes a wet slurry. Now, I am using a small saucepan, and then I'm going to heat it to medium heat after I get this into a slurry. It's all stirred. Now we're going to put this on a medium heat. I'm probably going to do about a 4 because mine runs hot on a double burner. Actually, you know what? This is a small pan. I'm going to do maybe 4.5 to 5 on a single burner. And we're just supposed to stir this and let it heat up till it becomes gelatinous paste. This is about what it looks like with the paste. We're still waiting on the yeast to froth. So we're going to go ahead and start making our mother dough. If you want to wait till your yeast has frothed, you can. So I'm going to start on step 5. In a large stand mixer or a large bowl, combine all of your ingredients together, including your cooked rooks and yeast mixture. If you are using a standard mixer, knead for 10 minutes on medium speed until dough pulls away from the sides. If you are kneading by hand, use the back of a wooden spoon and stir the ingredients until it forms a rough, shaggy, sticky dough. Alrighty. So, if you go back to variation 2 recipe, step 20, scroll all the way down, you'll see the mother dough ingredients: 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/3 cup of white granulated sugar, 1/3 cup of vegetable shortening, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 whole eggs, 1/3 cup of warm water, rooks paste, yeast mixture. Follow as it was before. For the kneading, I advise to use scarper for this, as this is an extremely sticky dough. The bench scraper will aid in gathering the dough as you knead. Ensure to knead it until it reaches a smooth and silky texture. Also, proofing time is the same. For rolling, roll it as thin as 1 centimeter in height instead of 1.5. Now this right here, if you've ever seen one of these, is what she is talking about. It helps you move the dough around when it's sticky and scrape it off the edges. So now our yeast has started to foam. I'm going to let it foam a little bit more. If you need any help with what it should look like, you can always look at the pictures that she provided. It's kind of a thick foaminess to it. Now we are going to move on to step 5. Make your mother's dough. Make your mother dough. Alright, and so we're going to start with 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Okay, so we're going to add a cup of all-purpose flour. Then I'm going to add another cup. That's cup number 2. And then we need half of a cup. That's about half of a cup right there. I always use this inside line. I don't know if you can see that.
I see it.
And that gives you half of a cup. And now we are adding 1/3 cup of sugar. I'm using Organics granulated cane sugar. Okay, now we're adding 1/3 cup of shortening. I am using the vegetable shortening. We're going to use 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to tap this and make sure it's even. There we go. We're using Morton salt. Okay, so now we're going to put in 2 eggs, whole eggs. I'm using the Organics cage-free grade A large brown eggs. That's 1. And 2. There we go. Okay, and now we are doing 1/3 cup of warm water. There we go. Okay, now we are doing the Roux paste. Just scoop it out of that small saucepan and put it in. And by the way, we're using a mixer, a large fold mixer. And I'm going to be using a dough hook. You can always use the metal mixer paddle and then change to dough hook. Sometimes I do that, but this time I decided to just use the dough hook. Look at this. The foam has gotten pretty well. I'm going to show you it's like this. Kind of a bubbly texture. And I'm going to pour that in there. And that's our last ingredient. This is a KitchenAid, and what I've done is I've locked in the handle, and I'm going to slowly put this on a 2. And you can see it's mixing really well. And then I might gradually raise it up, and I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes once it's completely mixed, so that it's kneaded for 10 minutes per the instructions. So the dough is ready. So we're going to pour it out onto a mat, a rolling mat. And then we're going to knead it. Okay, so now we are on step 6. And we will be pouring our shaggy sticky dough onto an unfloured work surface. Slowly knead your dough until it forms a smooth silky ball. If you feel like your dough is too sticky to work with, use either bench scraper or sprinkle just a little bit of flour to help things out. You can also use oil on your hands, like olive oil or avocado oil. It can help you to knead it without it sticking to you. Once kneaded and smooth, transfer your dough ball into a greased bowl and cover it with saran wrap. Today we're going to be using a cheesecloth because I don't have saran wrap. Let it proof in a warm, no draft environment for 1 hour. Once the 1 hour time is up, move your bowl into the refrigerator and let it continue to slow rise in the cold. This will allow your dough to stiffen up a little so it would be easier to roll and cut later. I put oil on my hands. I use organic avocado oil, just a little bit, and then you can knead your dough without it sticking to you. Okay. This is really sticky dough, so I'm just kind of pulling it up the middle If you want to pull up the other middle, you can. You can even do it diagonal. We're just trying to get this kneaded together. It's been mixed together already by the mixer. Okay. You can always just go like this to get it off of your fingers. And then another trick you can do is use one of these and kind of scrape in the dough like so. This helps you as well. If you don't want to use your fingers, you can just use this. Works really great. Alrighty, so now I'm going to get a bowl. I'm going to put some avocado oil in it. Make sure it's nice and greased up. We're going to put this dough inside. And then we are going to cover it with cheesecloth and let it rise.
For an hour.
For an hour. One of my largest bowls, and I greased it with the avocado oil. Now we are going to transfer the dough. So I'm just going to use this thing, as it's been very easy to move the dough with it, and it keeps my hands clean. There we go. Let's get that extra bit off. You can always use a spoon if you don't want to touch it, but I'm just going to use my fingers. Alrighty, I think we got it all in there. To cover the bowl with the cheesecloth and set the timer for an hour. Alrighty. Okay, so I did kind of look up to make sure that we could leave the dough under the light, and it actually said to use a moist towel. And so what I did is I rinsed the cheesecloth, drained it, squeezed it out, and then put it on top during that hour. And now we have it in the fridge for an hour. Now you can leave it in the fridge up to 24 hours, 8 to 12 hours, you know, overnight. But we need to make this today before the Sabbath starts, so we are going to just put it in the fridge for an hour. Okay, so now we are on step 8, roll out your dough. We have only put the dough in the fridge for an hour because that's all we could spare. And it says begin by removing your dough right from the fridge cold. Remove the saran wrap and punch the dough to rid of the air bubbles, or you can remove cheesecloth if you use cheesecloth. Flour your work surface with some dusting of flour and put your dough out onto the floured surface. Dust a little flour over the top of the dough and roll your rolling pin. Roll your dough to approximately 1.5 centimeters thick. Alright, so I'm just kind of punching some of the air bubbles out. This is still a sticky dough. Then I'm going to roll this out. Actually, you know what? I haven't put the flour down yet. Let me put flour down real quick. Alrighty. Now we can put the dough down.
We got Fridays.
There we go. Okay, so I have wet my pen, and I'm going to dust it with some flour. Okay. This is doing good. A little bit more. And we're just trying to get this out to where we can cut donuts out. Let's put a little bit more. You want to make sure you keep your roller dusted. Yeah, it's rolling really good now. so she said about 1.5 centimeters. Okay, so I've got my tape measure, and I'm going to see where we are. 1.5. Weird. Let me try again. I think I made it too small. Alright, let's try again. This time I'm going to try to roll it out a little thicker. Okay, let's see here. This is it. That's about right. So it's pretty thick. Okay. This for donuts and for bagels, and it's great. I got it off Amazon. It's called Holison. Okay, and it has the circle already in it, but you can remove that if you need to. I also recommend putting a little flour on it. Alright. Okay. So now we will pull back this stuff. And these ones in the middle are the donut holes. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that my spatula has been floured. I'm gonna try to lift this donut up. They were putting them on parchment paper, but I don't have any parchment paper right now, so trying to get that donut hole out. Goodness. Alright, let me try again. There we go. The donut hole is out. There we go. This is a sticky dough, as she warns, but it's okay. You should be able to get this up and put it over here. Right now, we are just trying to pick up the donut, transport it to the pan, and then we'll have it rise in the oven for 45 minutes. That one came out perfect when I did it in my hand. I'll show you again. Alright, so now we're going to put this together. Okay. Alright, so now we have a little bit more sticky dough, so we're going to flour it, and right now sticking in a couple places, so just add that flour to where it's sticking and put a little bit on the part that's sticking. Okay. This is about 1.5 centimeters thick. Now what worked for me last time the best was to push down, twist, and then lift up. It's kind of sticking to the bottom. I probably should have re-floured the bottom. Actually, this one's kind of messed up. Okay, I re-floured the bottom. I'm just trying to keep this thick. About 1.5 centimeters is what she asked for. And so I can kind of eyeball it now that I'm used to this. I'm trying to get this all floured. There we go. And I just twist it back and forth. And then the donut hole comes out. Sometimes you have to poke it out. There you go. And I'm going to put the donut hole right here. There we go. This time it came out on my hand. That's the best kind when it does that. Okay. And then these, I'm just going to gently pick up. Seems to work better than the spatula. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in the oven. I'll get out another pan and then we will come back in 45 minutes. Okay, so this is what we have with our leftover dough. So this isn't really enough for a whole donut at that thickness. So what I'm going to do is roll this out to the right thickness. And I'm just going to use the inside piece and make donut holes. So I'm going to use up every last bit of this dough. And there you go. The 4th cup to the beginning of the glaze. That's step 11. So we have 4 cups of powdered sugar. And it shows you step by step with pictures. The ingredients is 4 cups of confectionate sugar, 1 to 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract, ½ cup of milk, 1 tablespoon of brown butter. Now brown butter is basically just butter in a saucepan. She even goes in to give you directions. In a small saucepan, melt your butter and brown it just until it reaches a light amber. Then remove from heat and pour your brown butter together with your milk and vanilla into your bowl of powdered sugar. Whisk until there is no sugar lumps. Alright, now we're going to add ½ cup of milk. We're using Good and Gather organic milk from Target. And now I'm going to add some vanilla extract. You can do 1 or 2 teaspoons. David chose 2. And we're using the Organics brand from Safeway. Alright, so now I'm just going to turn this on low and we're going to brown our butter. So we're going to melt it first and let it turn a light brown and then add it to our glaze mix per the instructions. Okay, so I already put the butter in. I probably didn't get it brown enough, but it's okay. So now one of the tips she had was to use a strainer. You can also use a sifter to put in the powdered sugar, and then you can use a strainer to get out the clumps, making sure that your glaze is nice and clump free.
It smells delicious.
Okay, so after sifting, this is what we have left over, some clump-free glaze. And as you can see, these are all the clumps. I should have sifted prior, but I didn't have a sifter. You could also use these mesh to sift things as well. I recommend it. Now we're going to get out our Dutch oven. We're going to fill it with oil. Be generous is what she says. And we want the temperature, I believe, at 330. So we've got about 4 minutes till the donuts are done. And we'll go ahead and start warming up our oil. I'm going to be using the Kirkland vegetable oil. I believe we got this from Costco. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken a thermometer that has one of these clips on it. And I have my digital thermometer that I'm going to put this in here and then put it on the pan to test the temperature. Okay, so what I ended up doing is putting the clip on the side and then inserting the digital thermometer through it because it wouldn't fit into that little hole there. But this should be able to keep your thermometer straight. I have a little bit above the bottom. I have the oil almost to the top, right to where the handles are. Alright, and now we have the stove at number 4 on the double boiler. And I'm going to monitor the heat with a Thermo Pro we got from Amazon. These things are awesome for cooking meat. You can just put the thermometer in your meat, close the oven, set this to the temperature you want it to set it to, and the timer will go off when it's the right temperature. It's perfect every time. I highly recommend it. Alrighty, so we have finished with the donuts being in the oven. We're going to line our pan with paper towels. And right now I'm using up all my baking sheets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first layer the donuts onto here. Then I'm going to put this top piece on and layer them kind of like this. So it can the grease can fall down for all of them. Okay? So we don't have any saran wrap, so I'm just covering this with cheese cloth and hoping for the best with that. Now we're going to do step 13, get ready to fry. She's got some great pictures and tips. For a mess-free donut frying session, it will help if you have a large cookie sheet pan lined with paper towels and a cookie rack to lay your hot greasy donuts. This will help strain any oil from your fried donuts and extra glaze off the bottom. Once proofed, your donuts should be slightly tall and plump. Okay, so we are on step 14, heat your oil. In a deep saucepan, pour enough clean, unused vegetable oil. Do not skimp on the oil. It should be deep enough that the donuts can float and not touch the bottom of the pan. Heat your oil to 330 degrees Fahrenheit. Before placing a donut in there, use one of the extra donut holes and fry the first. It should immediately float and sizzle. If it sizzles too much and browns too fast, that means your oil is too hot. If it sinks and does nothing, your oil is not enough. 330 is the perfect frying temperature. Alright, and so we have our digital thermometer set to 330 and it's working its way up. I wouldn't turn it super high, I just kind of put it on 6. I started out at 4 and I decided to put it about 6. You can see the oil moving around. Just let the temperature rise gradually, and then for about 5 or 10 minutes I would lower it to make sure that it's a consistent 330. Okay, now we are on step 15 once you get your oil to where it needs to be. These are some great pictures of what color we should be looking for when we start frying. Once your oil is the correct temperature of 330, take one of your donuts, gently and carefully turn it over to the other hand, peel the parchment backing and lay into your hot oil. Be careful not to dump and splash. Fry for approximately 2 to 3 minutes per side till light golden brown, then transfer onto your rack to cool off for just a minute. Now once you have fried it, I'm going to go ahead and let you know step 16 to glaze them. So while you're continuing to fry your other donuts, you will glaze the one that has already been fried. Contrary to donut rules, glazed your donuts while still piping hot. This will ensure that the glaze will run off, only leave behind a thin layer of glaze. This is how Krispy Kreme glazed their donuts. And then let it sit till hardened. Alright, so now we have reached 333. I'm going to turn this down to 4 and then test this to see if it will go down as well. First I tested out a donut hole. I put it in for 1 minute on each side. I'm keeping an eye on the temperature fluctuation. I have the temperature set to 2 on the double burner, and these are all of our donuts. So we're about to start with a donut. Now it's supposed to float up. I'm going to do about 1 on each side. I also have these that I bought special for their tongs, but the oil can go through them, so I bought them special to be able to flip bagels and donuts and things like that. Alright, so now we are flipping it over, setting another timer for 1 minute. Alrighty, now we're going to put this over here. That looks good. And then we're going to finish up the donuts. Alright, so while it's still warm, I am putting the donut in here. Trying not to use all of it. And make sure you get all the edges. And I let it drain off in here.
Smells good.
Okay, and then I'm putting this on a wire rack that's on top of paper towels. You can put the jelly into the donuts. You can put them in the donut holes. If you chose not to make your donuts have holes in them, you could just put the jelly in them as well. Now we are going to be using sugar-free apricot preserve, and I'm just going to coat it on top of the donut. I'm not going to put it inside. And then the other one we're going to use wild blueberry preserve. So basically you can use a piper and pipe it on there, or a knife and spread it on there. I'm just making it a jelly topping instead of a jelly filling. Alright, so I'm piping on the jelly. You can do it as fancy or as simple as you want. You can even let it roll off the sides. And there you go, there's our 2 jelly donuts. Okay, so this is the end result. I did taste test it. It tastes nothing like a Krispy Kreme to me. It's a little too heavily cakey, and the icing is too heavy as well. It's not kind of like melt in your mouth like Krispy Kreme. But now I'm gonna have David taste it. But it does taste good, but tastes nothing like Krispy Kreme to me.
This is not Krispy Kreme. This is a different type of donut altogether.
Yeah, but it's not
good. It's good. It's just it's not a Krispy Kreme donut. This is Some knockoff donut.
Yeah.
Next time I'll try Winchell's.
Okay. And now I'm going to have him taste test the jelly donut, the apricot.
I like apricot.
So that one's better?
That's better.
Better than the icing?
Not an ice cream.
Okay, next time I'll just do jelly.
I do Winchell's next time. We'll try Winchell's recipe.
Okay. Alright, well that's happy Hanukkah to you, and thank you for watching our channel, and I hope you enjoyed the video and the recipe review, and I hope you enjoy your donuts. Have a good day.
And the next one is going to be a Chex Mix snack mix for you.
Yep, our next one is probably going to be the Chex Mix, and then I'm probably going to do a Rice Krispie.
And then on my segment, tomorrow I'm doing a restaurant review on Pavilions in Concord.